let's get started. So we'll begin in a comfortable seated position. You can sit cross-legged, you can sit on your knees, however feels best to you. Maybe your legs long out in front if the hips are really tight, or knees are sore, anything like that. So I just want to take a few seconds to really start bringing some awareness into the body. All right, so in your comfortable seated position, I want you just to begin to move through the spine, starting to wake everything up. It can look like waves, it can look like little wiggles and shivers. You can bring your hands out, but really just kind of like bringing all the blood flow into the body. And we come back to center, hands on the knees. We're going to bring the spine in loops in both directions to really benefit spinal mobility. All right, so your hands are on your knees. You're going to take an inhale. And as you exhale, tilt the ribs over to the right and then lean back to your center. So now you're in the center, but a little bit behind on your exhalation. You're going to take your next inhale as you pull yourself over to the left and forward. I'm leaning forward. So we're going to continue that with the breath. Exhale back. Inhale forward. Exhale back. And see my hips are popping and lifting up off of the mat. I have not practiced today, so I'm a little bit stiff myself, but now we're gonna go 3 times in the other direction. So this time as you inhale, we're gonna pop it over to the left first, and then inhale to the right. Exhale, and inhale, exhale, and inhale. I honestly wasn't counting, so we'll do one more, okay? Just because it should feel really good. And I want to say that if anything doesn't feel really good, you can either just stop or do it differently, and I'll point out different modifications. Next, we're going to keep the hands on the knees, and as you inhale, lift the chest up, lift the chin up, broaden across the collarbone. Feel that arch in the back. And reversing that on the exhalation, pull everything down into center. Shoulders come forward, spine rounds back, even lean back onto your tailbone, chin comes toward the chest, and then inhale and open. Exhale to close the body, and inhale to open the body. One more time as you exhale. And then inhale, exhale. Hopefully the spine is starting to feel more limber. At the bottom of your exhalation here, we're just going to return the spine to neutral. Inhale, arms come all the way up. As you exhale, left hand comes to right knee, right hand comes behind the body, and just kind of peek over the right shoulder. See how that feels. You may have a ton of room to turn around. You may not, and that's okay. Inhale to center, exhale and open the body to the left. Inhale to center, one more time on each side. Exhale, open to the right. Inhale and exhale. And we'll inhale back to center, dropping the left hand down onto the mat. As you exhale now, we're going to keep the seat on the floor and move only through the ribs, tipping the ribs up toward the ceiling. So my hips aren't coming off the mat, but my rib cage is tipped over. Right palm faces the floor as you exhale, feeling a deep stretch along the right side body. You can press your left hand into the floor to help keep your hips anchored and grounded. Kind of deepens the stretch a little bit. Inhale all the way up. Same thing, other side. Right hand comes to the floor, tipping the ribs up here too. Now left palm tips toward the floor. Now the neck, you can either spin the chest open and look up toward the ceiling, but you want to make sure to keep this back shoulder down. You can down away from the head. or you can take your gaze down toward the floor. It all just depends on where the body is open. Okay, one more time on each side. Exhale over to the left. And inhale up and exhale to the right. And inhale all the way up. Now we're gonna bring the hands to the mat in front of us and crawl over the hands and knees onto the hands and knees. We're gonna come back to that cat-cow, but doing it in a different position. It feels a little bit different. You might be able to move a little bit easier, a little more ease to your movement here. Your wrists are under your shoulders, your knees are underneath your hips, and your feet are flat on the floor. As you inhale, drop the chest, lift the tailbone, lift the chest and chin. Exhale, round through the spine, tuck the tailbone, puff up between the shoulder blades, and bring the chin under. Inhale, and exhale. Inhale, and exhale. All right, we're gonna add a little bit of strength to this, pulling the belly button to the spine, tuck the toes, and lift the knees off the mat just a little. And now go through your cat-cow again. Inhale and exhale. Inhale, feel your abs like on fire, activating. If that's uncomfortable, you can keep the knees on the floor for sure, but just kind of fun to try new hard things. All right, go ahead and bring the big toes together, sitting back on the heels. Hands come around behind the back, interlacing the fingers. We're gonna pull the hands down toward the mat. It feels like you're holding a weight in your hands. Lift the chest, lift the chin. Really stretching the body open. Option here to lift the hands away from the body if this feels good. If not, again, don't do it. And exhale to release. All right, bring the hands back out. Step back into the top of your plank position to lift your hips up to downward dog. Now, this doesn't work for everybody, but it's pretty general that when you're in the proper plank position and you shift your hips, that it's a good distance between your hand and your feet for you. But again, some people have shorter arms, longer torsos, longer legs, whatever, you know, so everything is different for everybody. Just really find what feels good to you. Move into camera. All right, we're gonna walk the dog, and that simply means lengthening through one leg while you bend the other, and going back and forth, feeling the stretch in the hamstrings and calves. Your shoulders are warming up. Now from here, bend both knees. As you lengthen out through the legs, lift all the way up onto the toes. We'll come back down, dropping the heels toward the mat and bending the knees. Lengthening out, lifting up. And again, drop the heels, bend the knees, lengthen the legs, lift up onto the toes. Last time. All right. Coming back into your downward dog, we'll roll out to the top of your plank position and back up to dog. This is a really great way. Pulling the belly button up and rolling out to your downward dog is great for plank. Now bend the elbows straight back, and we're gonna lower the body down onto the floor, nice and slow. Bring the hands up off of the mat, legs up off of the mat. Inhale and lift for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. And lower. Bring the hands underneath the elbows, tuck the toes, and press into your hands to come back to downward dog. All right. Inhale, forward. Exhale to lower. And once you get down to the floor, inhale to lift your legs, lift your hands, lift your chest. Lift your chin, building strength in the muscles along the spine here. And exhale and lower. We're gonna do that 2 more times. Tuck the toes, press through your push-up to downward dog. Inhale forward, bend the elbows. See how long it can take you to get down. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Good. Lift the feet, lift the hands, hold for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. One more time. We'll press all the way up to downward dog. Come forward, lower for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And lift. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Bring everything down. Tuck your toes. Come back into your downward dog. Take a moment to rest in your downward dog, breathing in and out of your nose, pedaling the legs, feeling the hamstrings opening up. I want you now to take a big inhalation to lift your right leg all the way up. And as you exhale, bring your foot between your hands, shifting your left knee down to the floor. We're going to come back and forward, really working into the left hip and the right hamstring, back and forward and back and forward. All right, tuck the back toes if they aren't already and lift the knee. Inhale to come all the way up, high lunge. Raise the arms up, grasping opposite elbows. Now this might not be comfortable in your shoulders if you have any sort of shoulder injury, and if that's the case, you can bring your hands behind you and interlace your hands back here. What we're going to do is we're going to use the core to move, bring the belly button in and lower the back knee to the floor, shift the hips. So notice I'm not trying to sit down on that back heel, but I am lifting this front toe and hinging forward. You can feel the strength building in the left leg, the lengthening through the right leg. Pull your belly button in, come upright, shift into the right knee, and lift your left knee. 2 more times. We're gonna come down, back, and hinge. Making sure you breathe, preferably in and out of your nose. Inhale forward, bend into the right knee, press into the left toes to come up. Last time, left knee comes down, come back and hinge forward, and come up. So here, what I want you to do is really power through, use the muscles in that left leg, and your weight is in your heel here in the front. Hands are behind the back. Inhale to lift the chest, to open the chest. As you exhale, hinge forward over that front leg. You can take a modification by bringing your back knee down to the floor. Your next exhalation is going to drop the right hand, plant the right hand onto the floor. We're going to come back into your plank and shift over to a side plank on the right side. And coming back to center and back to downward dog. Same thing, other side, left leg comes up and left foot lands between the hands, right knee to the floor. We're going to shift back and forth, opening up the other hip and hamstring, and forward. Exhale and inhale. And notice which side of the body is tighter. My left hamstring feels much tighter than the right one did. 2 more times like that. Inhale and exhale. Again. Ooh, that's a good spot. Inhale and exhale. When you find those good spots, feel free to linger there because those feel really good, hence they feel good. Okay, tuck the back toes, lift the knees, inhale to come up. Arms can be up here or we can grasp hands down here, whichever feels good, in the shoulders. We're gonna bring the right knee back down to the floor, shift the hips back in space, lifting the front toes. So similar, but except I'm not coming straight back and I'm not really focusing on the hip as much as I am this front leg. Inhale, exhale, and then come down and back and hinge forward. Now we'll come forward into the left knee, press into the right toes, lift the knee, bend the knee, come back, hinge forward, deepening the stretch, forward, lift, down, and back and hinge. One more time, forward, lift, down, back and hinge. Excellent. Now we'll come forward and lift. Again, hands can be up here or back here, but we inhale to lift the chest, exhale to hinge forward. This is a humble position, humble lunge. And bring the hands down to the mat, plant through the left hand, and make your way to a side plank on the left side. Good. Building balance not only between the left and the right side of the body, but the top and the bottom of the body. And bring the right hand back down and shift your hips up to downward dog. Take a nice big inhalation, and as you exhale, bend the elbows so that they come right down to the mat. So we're not shifting anything, just lowering the elbows. Feeling strength build here. You can play with the idea of walking the toes in slightly, if that feels good. We'll hang out here for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Press into both hands, lifting the elbows up off of the floor. Bring your knees down to the mat. You can either shift your hips back and take a child's pose, or you can sit on your knee. Both knees, actually. Sit on your knees in an upright position, whatever feels better to you. Child's pose really hurts my shoulders. I do have shoulder injuries, so I feel better upright. We're gonna bring our awareness back to the breath. I'm sweating and I'm huffy puffy. And for those of you who are also sweaty and huffy puffy, I recommend just taking a few moments here, bringing your awareness back into the body, deepening your breaths, in and out of your nose. It's like little love notes to the body. Here, heart, have some oxygen. Here, left quadricep, you're on fire, have some oxygen. And it just feels so, so good to take care of our bodies. So we're gonna crawl the hands back out and all meet back in a downward dog position. And you might be able to notice now a difference in the body. You know, that warmth that we talked about, maybe a little bit more like limber, loose, open. Maybe you already feel a little bit stronger. Now, I'm just gonna shift to the other end of my mat so that I'm not facing the window and I'm still facing you guys. You stay where you are. Inhale, right leg all the way up. And as you exhale, bring your right foot between your hands. Spin your back heel down to the floor and inhale up for Warrior 2. Quick rundown of Warrior 2. Right foot is facing forward. Left foot is facing the side of the mat, but has a slight angle to the front. That slight angle is gonna help protect the knee joint. Your right heel is in line with the arch of your left foot. We bend into the front knee. So now when I bent this knee, it went out over my ankle. I'm gonna crawl my toes forward and adjust until it feels good. There we go. Now, Bring your awareness to the outside edges of your feet. Bring your arms up to float parallel to the floor. Pull your belly button in and point your tailbone down toward the floor. Warrior two. We'll just breathe here for a few moments, building that heat, building that isometric strength in the thighs and in the glutes and the core, in the ankles, in the knees, just everywhere. Take your next exhalation. We're going to spin the hands down to the mat. Planting the right hand, we're going to take that side plank again. So coming through your plank to side plank on the right side. And now hang out here for a moment. The higher we try to raise this hip, oop, you see that? The more instability we create in the body. The hip should come in line. The spine should be in a line. No arching here. As you exhale, close the body off and lift the hips to downward dog. Same thing, just going back to the top of my mat. From your downward dog, rolling out into plank, lowering down to the stomach as slow as we can go. Ready? 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Take your next inhalation to lift the legs and lift the arms. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Lower and meet back in downward dog. Now the other side. Inhale, left leg all the way up. And left foot lands between the hands. Warrior two, same thing. We're going to spin the right heel down to the floor. Inhale to stand. Check your stance. Yeah, that feels pretty good. Belly button, tailbone, shoulders, arms. Check, check, check. And hold it here. Maybe you can feel it a little bit more in your left leg. You can challenge yourself by bending that left knee a little bit further, but keeping your weight in the outside edges of your feet. This helps to keep the legs active and your arches from falling. Just a few more moments. And then exhale, hands come down to the mat, shifting through your plank position to come into side plank on the left side. Again, you can look down at the floor or up at your thumb, whichever feels better to you. And we'll roll over into your plank position. Take your downward dog. Roll out to plank, lower for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Inhale and lift for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Hands come down to the floor. We'll press up onto the knees. Now what I want you to do is bring the toes together, but your knees as wide apart as your mat, okay? Walking the hands out, melting the chest down toward the floor, bringing your forehead toward the floor. So this is a wide child's pose, gets into the hips, really great for the low body. We'll stay here, close your eyes, focus on your breath, calming your breath. Just taking a few moments to bring yourself back to center. And then when you're ready, walking your hands backwards, coming back up into a seated position, whether on your knees, your legs crossed in front, however that feels good to you. Now we'll just take a few moments to sit in this spot. Feel the body, feel the breath. What's changed? What is different? Sweaty, my heart rate is elevated. My muscles feel taxed, but good. I feel open. I feel calm and peaceful. Tick off these things, this list, on your own, checking in with yourself before we blink the eyes open and say namaste. All right, you guys, I'm super stoked. That was a lot of fun. I'm really sweaty and it was amazing, and I can't wait to do more of these with you. If you guys liked it, let me know. If you want to see something specific, let me know, and I will do my best to be as helpful as I can. All right, so creepy crawl towards you and say goodbye.